let's bring this meeting to order at 8:08 p.m. So let's do a quick roll call.
I have chair,
Present.
vice chair,
Present.
secretary is present, treasurer,
Here.
CD1, Nick, I saw you on there.
He was on here earlier.
Was.
I actually don't see him on the list anymore. Maybe he dropped
Yeah.
internet connection or something.
He's in a waiting room again. Nick, you back on? All right, we'll circle back. CD2, CD3.
I'm
Got
here.
you, Nick. Thanks, man.
James St. John, CD3 is here.
All right, thank you. CD4, Carl.
I am here.
All right, CD5.
Present.
CD6. CD7.
Present.
And 8. All right, I see Logan's on. Logan,
Yeah.
you there? Yep.
He was just talking like 3 minutes ago.
I am here. I just had trouble unmuting myself. Sorry about that.
Got it. All right, 9.
Here.
10. Absent. And 11.
This is CJ Cunningham. I'm standing in for Stephen Porter.
All right, thanks, CJ. So I've got 12 of us, 80%. We should be good.
All right. So next on to approval of minutes from our last meeting. Everyone receive and review the minutes from last meeting? Any changes or corrections needed?
I'll motion to approve the agenda.
Hi, Daddy. Nice to see you. There you go.
Do you mean the minutes? In that
Minutes.
case?
Oh, excuse me, the minutes.
Second.
All right. Any opposed? All right. Hearing that, minutes are approved from the December 18th, 2022 SCC meeting. Since you mentioned the agenda, do we need to approve the agenda, or does anyone need to make any changes to the agenda?
I wouldn't like to make any motion at this time, but I think that 6G, new business, I don't think we can make it a floating item, but I believe we're going to have somebody joining us who's going to, I think Andrew actually passed this one off to the national chair to talk to. So I think I would like to make a motion when it comes time that she's on to we'll amend the agenda at that time to just make that the current item as long as we're in new business somewhere. But at this time, no.
Okay.
Second, Paul's a very vague motion.
It's not. No motion has been made. To be clear, nothing. No motion. I am discussing a future motion that is not in. Well, maybe it's in order, but it's not appropriate.
I would like to make a motion to pencil in a little asterisk new business wherever it may be for Angela to talk at whichever time is convenient based on her provisionally joining the call.
Okay. I
believe that was tentatively around 9 o'clock, so we got a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
It should be towards the end of the meeting.
Okay. All right. Well, then we'll move on to officer reports. So first of all, I want to congratulate our 2 new congressional district chairs, Carl and James. I attended both of the congressional district conventions yesterday out in Charlottesburg and in Chesterfield. for Charlottesville. I can't talk today. Sorry. Did a lot of driving, so. And so yes, congratulations. Our status with the State Corporation Commission is active again for anyone who was not aware. So thank you to Jason Bruce for helping to do that as well, so we can get that back on track. And as far as media goes, there was an article in the Virginia Mercury on December 27th about our convention and reorganization. I put the link in the report I sent to Jason, so it should be in the minutes. And I also, as a result of that article, I was also on the Joe Morrissey radio show. I was on WRVA one morning, and I was also on Tony McCreaney's radio show. So that was pretty cool. We're getting some media attention finally. Another thing I wanted to bring up, and this is probably something that we can discuss through email. I was contacted by the chair of the Libertarian Youth Caucus. I wasn't that familiar with this. I don't know if it's a new organization, but they exist to provide a partisan avenue for young libertarians, chartering affiliates on high school and college campuses across the country. So they are looking for interested members to possibly help start a state chapter as well as local chapters in Virginia. So if you know of anyone who's interested, especially in that category of libertarians, getting them started, they can contact me and I can get them in contact with him. All right, so on this past Friday, I had a Zoom meeting with Erin Davis, who works for Americans for Prosperity. She previously was a member of LPVA, and she is trying to get us to be more involved, going to Richmond, meet with legislators. They are primarily focused right now on some education bills, some bills to dealing with energy, monopolies, and the economy. So I can send more detailed information to anyone who's interested in seeing what they are working on, or if you have any concerns about anything that you would like to bring up to her, I can do that as well. I know some of you got to hear her speak yesterday. She was at CD4's convention. But I really think we really need to start showing up at the Capitol just to get our name out there, to show people we're serious, we're, you know, a political party that actually has some muscle behind it. She said that she's able to get us appointments with legislators, so if you are interested, I can put you in contact with her and let her know what day you're planning to be there.
May I ask you a question about that?
Sure.
I'm going up there tomorrow with her. I'm gonna meet her up there tomorrow. Can I, when I'm talking to the legislature, can I say that I am the chair for the fourth congressional district for the Libertarian Party?
I don't see why not.
I don't know what the protocol is to me. So I don't want to,
You are technically a board member, so.
Yes. So okay, I just want to make sure so they don't think I'm just somebody normal. I'm one normal. I mean, we're normal. I mean, that we're part. I'm part of a party, not just.
Yeah, that would be okay.
Actually, I just want to raise a quick point of information. I spoke with Bo Brown about a year and a half ago. We were actually talking about things just like this. And basically what he had mentioned was that if we are to go there and represent ourselves as the Libertarian Party of Virginia, then we have to be registered as a lobbyist. We can kind of run that down a little bit and kind of get a little bit more fidelity, but I do want to make sure that we kind of have our I's dotted and T's crossed with that information, just so that we don't run afoul of any, you know, whatever, some crazy other politician rules. So just, Carl, if you wouldn't mind, I mean, we can, like I said, we can run that down, or if somebody already knows the answer to that, that would be even better.
Yeah, I think at this point, if you go there, you shouldn't say that you're representing LPVA. You are just a regular concerned citizen until we can figure this out. I think that
That's
eventually
why I
at
was
some
asking.
point, yeah, I think at some point, once we figure that out, in terms of what we need to do to get registered, maybe we can register as a Libertarian Party of Virginia and be a lobbyist. But I think we need to figure that out. So just do it as a concerned citizen, less.
What was Bo previously registered? Like we were previously registered as a lobbyist?
No, but he was having meetings with like Abigail Spanberger and a few other folks, and he said every time that he went to go meet with them, it was always under the guise of "I'm a concerned citizen." I'm sure that they probably knew who he was, but again,
Yes, Mr. Vice Chair.
So to go back to item number 4, there are 2 members up here in Nova on the LP Nova board who are involved in the Libertarian Club at GMU. So I can pass those 2 along.
Cool. All right. So for Carl tomorrow, he's just a concerned citizen. Okay. All right.
And on that topic, just real quick, is there anybody that knows or would like to explore that more? I don't mean to extend the discussion too much further, but maybe we can come back to it, but something worth considering so that we can actually really do stuff. Maybe it's something to come back to, but just to bring up.
If I would go there, I would hope I'd be able to say I was the chair of the party. But
Exactly. I totally agree. That's why it's worth exploring for sure.
yeah, if I can't say that, it's not that it's not important to go, but I feel like if I'm going to make the drive there,
It's not as important, and it's not. Yeah, I get it.
any other discussion on that? All right. I had some news from the LNC front as well. Convention Oversight Committee has started having Zoom meetings, and they happen every 2 weeks. If anyone's interested in attending those, they are public, and the information is on the LNC Google group. Andy Burns, who was a big person with the CRM development, he was the CRM affiliate support liaison, resigned last month, and his last day was December 26th. So they are a little behind on CRM requests right now, but they are working on getting everything back on track as soon as they can. And if anyone would like to attend the next in-person LNC meeting, the next one is March 11th in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And that concludes my report. So, Mr. Vice Chair?
Sure. So we got the template for sending emails out through the CRM updated. There was a few, like it was an old logo, it was an old address, it was an old sort of email in the footer. That's all been fixed, and actually was able to successfully use that thing to send out the solicitation for the LPVA's national platform committee representative. As one of the 10 largest affiliates in the country, state affiliates, we are entitled to send a platform representative and actually an unlimited number of alternates. I think we should probably limit it, maybe like 2 alternates. The way that works is your rep votes. We would rank the alternates, so if the rep doesn't show, then the first alternate votes. But actually, all of those alternates get to debate. So this would give people, it's not just some sort of token position to be an alternate. You actually get to participate in the discussions of the committee if you show up. So It's also we should probably, if people are interested, and I think there will be some people interested, expand the knowledge base of people on that committee so that we have more than just one person who's been on it, which has been the case for a while. So we sent that out, and I put a deadline on that applications as of end of February. So I think maybe we can pencil it in at least for addressing who that rep and however many alternates we get would be in the March meeting. And unscripted thing, since the chair covered some LNC stuff, the bylaws committee is actually also meeting, the National Bylaws Committee. That is every other Thursday at 8:45 p.m. The next one is January the 26th. It's a 2-hour meeting, at least on the schedule, and could go longer, so just be prepared for that one. And if you have an idea about the bylaws, I'm actually on that committee, so let me know and I'll try to work with you if it's something that can be done. Thanks.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, Cross?
Yes, for Paul, you said you sent the things out, where did you send it out on?
It was sent out through the CRM. So that's the template. So
Emails in there?
yes. So it was emailed out to all members of the LPVA. I actually also emailed that out to national members who were not members of the LPVA. It's a national committee. I would hope that if somebody's interested in joining on behalf of the LPVA, they would join, but it's a national committee. So
Can you do me a favor and forward that to me?
sure.
Good in the account.
It may have gone to spam.
Yeah.
It was a mass email.
Oh, okay. But can you forward that application or whatever it is in the description so I can look over it?
Sure, we'll do.
Thank you very much.
All right, Mr. Secretary.
Yeah, so just to kind of recap from last meeting, the e-vote for Tim Lewis's petition was taken. And that was completed on the 7th of January. That did pass. We had 9 yays, 0 nay, but we had 6 abstentions, just resulting from not getting any answers from folks. So ideally, I'd like to see us do a little bit better job on the e-votes. I know this was kind of like the first one. It was a little bit of a trial period, but hopefully we can kind of use this one as a learning experience. Minutes have been drafted from the last meeting. Paperwork to the SCC had been filed. So basically, I'm just kind of continuing on from some of the points from the last month's meeting. I'm going to be continuing to work on a little bit of the website, trying to improve a little bit more of our organization. Officer reports are kind of one of those pieces. Minutes, governing docs, moving those to a different repository, something a little more permanent, which hopefully our website will be. So the congressional district conventions. So for those who have not had a convention using the updated CD maps, that needs to happen. It's just kind of a call, but everyone has new district lines now. So even if you as the CD chair have remained in that district, you're now representing other people that need to have a say in who their CD chair is. So just keep that in mind. Let's see, that the last thing that I have really is effectively just kind of touching a little bit on the notifications, pushing that kind of information out for the agenda and things like that. If anyone has any insight or let's say any feedback for that, send those over to me, because we're kind of, feeling that out as a process also. As it stands right now, I'm putting the link to Zoom in the agenda. I know that that's a little bit cumbersome, so we'll push it out in as many places as we can. But I'm going to touch a little bit on it later on in new business. But essentially, different notification tools that we have. We have the CRM. We have a few other online things. Some of that works better than others. Paul, I see your hands up.
Just the CDs that haven't had those. Do you happen to know which ones those are?
I have not looked at it just yet, so no, I do not have a running list, but I can get that pretty quick.
Okay. I'll be quiet, actually.
All right, that concludes my report.
All right, Mr. Treasurer.
Okay, so the FEC filing and Virginia Department of Elections filing are both in. They were due by the 17th, and they were put out either yesterday or the day before. So we're good on that portion. So we're looking at, as of today, we have $36,674 in the bank for use, minus SASLA funding issue, which we'll be talking about later. We'll have available funds of $23,532.68. I've done a little bit of budgeting and kind of just data mining our Stripe payment processor and looking at what we've been doing over time. So for this upcoming year, I'm predicting that we'll be getting about $8,000 in membership dues and recurring donations. Seems to be around about there. We'll be spending somewhere around $1,600 to $2,000 in operations. So our fees that we pay to Stripe, along with our website costs and Zoom and all the other stuff that goes along with running the party. So that gives us about $6,000 to spend, and we need to start probably looking forward to how we want to kind of position funds accordingly. So just something to think about. And that's it for me.
All right, thank you. CD1, Mr. Kirby's.
Hey everyone, not a whole lot going on here yet in CD1, but we do have the Central Virginia Convention the 25th of this month. It's at Park Lane Tavern, opening at 5:30, and we'll start the meeting probably around 6. Three Rivers, so I don't know much about them, but there is an SCC listing that they are dissolved, but it also says that a fee could be paid to reinstate. So it's either that they haven't paid and or they don't want to pay the dissolve. If anybody knows those people and can find out more or care to, I unfortunately will not be able to, just because I'm blocked from social media and that's the only other contacts. But Chesterfield affiliate officially joined the South Central affiliate. Congratulations. That was on January 14th. Paperwork is going to come later. And as of now, congratulations to Mr. Curtis and Mr. Wysick. Glad you guys are here.
Thank you. One thing about that, just to let you know, the South Central is not we haven't approved, this committee has not approved them as an affiliate yet. So that'll be next month.
Yeah, I think the paperwork is getting together.
Yes, it's getting done now, but we wasn't in time for tonight. So the next meeting, we'll vote and then yes, and they will all be one big happy family. But until then, it's not really an affiliate. So it's wrong. Say yes, I call it affiliate. It's really not. It's going to get trouble or whatever.
Good deal.
All right, CD2 not here. CD3, Mr. St. John.
Good evening, all. The two affiliates we have in the area, the Hampton Roads and Peninsula Group, continue to meet once a month. The Peninsula Group's meeting tomorrow. I do know we have a couple of members planning on heading up for Lobby Day. I will make sure that they're aware of the lobbying efforts and who they're going to be representing tomorrow. So other than that, we're still looking for a CD2 volunteer who wants to serve to take Ms. McCall's place on this committee. So that's it for me. Thank you very much.
Mr. Vice Chair, did you want to make your motion?
I don't know that it's in order right now, since we're not on new business.
Okay, that's fine. All right, C4, Mr. Weisig, do you have anything you wanted to?
No. I'm new, so I don't know what to say yet, and I'm learning some of this stuff. So new in this committee, so I'll figure it out, and then I'll start talking and get you set up later on. So.
All right, CD5, Mr. Curtis.
Nothing to add to the report I submitted, but I can answer any questions.
All right, CD6 do not have a proxy, correct?
Correct. No, nothing from CD6.
Okay. CD7, Mr. Norton.
Hello, everyone. And congratulations to the new members. Excited to hear from you guys. Nothing new to report this month.
Okay, thank you. CD8, Mr. Hoy.
Bring up my notes here. First off, congrats to the new chairs. Let's see. Other than that, there's not a whole lot to report on. I'm a little behind on where I wanted to be in terms of CD8 convention planning. I was hoping to do something in February. That still might be possible at the tail end of February, but it's looking more like early March. I've had some personal matters that have been occupying my time. And I had wanted to get through the CRM training before taking some other steps and then actually organizing the convention stuff. But because of the potential delays on that, I'll just try to do things concurrently. But that still should be happening soon. And I'll definitely have an update in our next meeting on that. I'd also like, just as a general note regarding that convention planning, I want to try to get the word out at some LP Nova events in the next month and a half, let's say, and potentially even at that anti-war event for people, for CD8 folks in the area, both in terms of attending the convention and also in terms of planning for potential, people that might want to run for things and being able to organize that. So that's, that's on the agenda for CD8. But other than that, nothing really in particular to report on.
Right, thank you. CD9, Mr. Craig.
Yes, the only thing that I have to report is we do have one candidate that's thrown his house into his hat into the ring for Bedford Board of Supervisors, Dean Davison. He's going to be running as a Libertarian. But yeah, that's basically all that I got to report right now. Unfortunately, I just got my laptop back yesterday, so I wasn't able to file a report yet. So I should be able to get that to y'all before the end of the night. Thank y'all.
All right, CD10 is not present. CD11, Mr. Cunningham.
Yeah, I'm going off Steven's notes here, but so one thing, he was named to the Herndon Board of Zoning Appeals. It's a nonpartisan position, but so he's filling in until the end of this year, and then if he is added to it again, it's a 5-year term. For CD11, we're planning on doing our convention in March. We don't have a date yet, but hopefully we'll have one of those soon. That's all.
Thank you.
One other thing, it says in his notes here that we do have one candidate. I think there's a little bit of overlap with CD10 in this district, but we have a gentleman that's interested in running for Fairfax County Education Board. It's the Springfield district, so sort of like Southern Fairfax County. But yeah.
Excellent. All right. Committee reports. Our candidate support committee, Mr. Lewis.
Hi there. I think you have access to the meeting minutes from that. We haven't submitted any report or anything, but I put you on the document for that. Is that right, Jennifer?
Yes. Hold on. Do you want to just read those to everyone?
Sure, I can. I was just making sure that you had access to it. Anyway. So first meeting went well. We appointed chair, vice chair, and secretary. We decided that we should probably do more than just exist and be available for candidates who are running in the state. So we're taking a little initiative. We're putting together a how to run pamphlet. There's a for people who are considering running, there's a petition out there that they can fill out to give us a little bit of detail so that we can help them out a little bit more. Going to be generating and sending reminder emails for the important dates, such as filing their financials, just to kind of help them along through the course of things. But that's about it for now.
Okay, thank you. All right, on to old business. And back to the petition that we discussed in the last meeting for Mr. Lewis about his lawsuit. So we did agree to support him in his endeavor, but we were going to discuss if we were going to support him financially at this meeting. So anyone have any suggestions for this, or?
Well, I think the first question is, what does Mr. Lewis know or expect? Not expect, but I mean, what type of expenses are we talking about? Just a general discussion to understand what might be in order and where you might need help and how much.
The lawyer's asking for a 5,000 retainer to get started. I can fund it or fund a portion of it. That's just to get everything started. That's the only financials I have to date.
I would say that just, speaking for myself, I'd be in favor of offering financial support. However, I would say that it should be limited, basically for the reason that this is a lawsuit that it does seem to align with what we want, and it might have some positive consequences down the line, but that the immediate circumstances which created the situation are more or less resolved. And so in that respect, it's less something that we need to throw resources into. So I myself would say that this is why I voted in favor of support for it. I'm in favor of continuing to support it, and I would even be in favor of financial support, put our money where our mouth is. But I would fall on the sort of on the side of definitely a limited amount of financial support, potentially with further support down the line, but certainly limited to start.
Mr. Hoy, I mean, 5,000 for the retainer. In your opinion, like, are we talking like, could we support a 20 or 25% of that amount? Or
yeah, that's where my mind is on it, around 20%. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Okay.
Tim, I just have a question. I know it's probably you just don't really know the answer to it, but can you ballpark how much you think the total will be? Does the lawyer know?
No, really, we don't know if the court is going to make a summary judgment, a bench judgment on it, because there's prior Supreme Court case regarding the issue. We don't know how much of a fight the county is going to put up against it, if any. Right now, there's so much just simply unknown on the case itself until it's filed that a call can't be made on that.
Thank you.
All right. Would anyone like to make a motion on supporting him financially?
Sure. Well,
Go ahead. Go ahead, Paul.
I would like to motion that we support Mr. Lewis's lawsuit for $1,000.
I'll
I
second.
second that. Yep, CD1, I second it as well.
All right. Any discussion? Okay. I guess we will take it to a vote. Mr. Secretary, do you want us to do a roll call vote for this, or?
I think we have to, since it's a 2/3 vote.
Okay.
Yes, and really quick, I just want to do a quick point of information here, but for some reason I'm having an issue with my iPad, so I am the Virginia Libertarian Party on the Zoom thing right now.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification. All right, so let's vote. CD1?
Sorry, news on, yes. CD1, Nick Curtis.
Okay. CD3?
James St. John, yes.
CD4, Mr. Wyzak?
Sure, why not?
CD5, Mr. Curtis?
Yes.
All right, CD6 not here. CD7, Mr. Norton?
I vote yes.
Okay, thank you. CD8, Mr. Hoy?
Yes.
CD9, Mr. Craig?
I vote yes.
And CD11, Mr. Cunningham?
Yes.
All right, and Mr. Treasurer?
Dan John, yes.
All right, Mr. Secretary?
I'm a yes.
All right, Mr. Vice Chair?
I am also yes.
All right, and Chair votes yes as well. So thank you, everyone.
Hey, may I just, real quick?
Yes.
Well, first off, everyone, thank you so much. But secondly, a couple people have said Mr. Lewis's lawsuit. I think this is ours. I would like it to be ours, our lawsuit. It's the right thing to do. It affects libertarians, at least within the county, if not with a broader brush. But I think this is properly referred to as our lawsuit against the county.
We can correct that for sure.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I'll once I get everything together, then we'll take it from there. But thank you.
You're welcome. All right, we are on to committee appointments. I did not get any volunteers for other than Mr. Davidson for the local affiliate. I know you're already on the candidate support committee.
I have the time at this point to do this. So if
Okay.
you feel that it's, if the SCC feels that it's able to be done, I was in the initial one that was kind of crookedly messed up and then kicked off because I missed the meeting. And Nick and Curfews can attest to that. But I have the ability to do that if need be. So if the SCC agrees that they want to do that, I will happily take it.
Okay. Has anyone else heard from interested parties? Yeah. Okay.
So I believe that this procedure is specified in the Constitution. Let me just find it. Because unlike what we did with the candidate support committee, I think we're actually required to, because the local affiliates have not chosen their own chair, we have to pick the chair. We can't do the appoint the committee as an interim chair and they elect their own. I don't think we're allowed to do that.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
find that citation.
CD1, I would like to volunteer if it's something I'd be interested to chair, but I'd also like to get help if Mr. Davidson would be willing to, or whomever. But yeah, it's something I've already got documents and things that can help to get it started, and then I would like to solicit help from there, but I'd be interested as well.
Okay. Thank
I
you.
would happily allow Mr. Curfews to be the chair of that committee, and I would help him out. Not a problem.
Okay. So are we needing to appoint a chair of the committee, Mr. Vice Chair? Is that what you're reading?
I'm frantically looking for where it references this. It's in here somewhere.
I believe Mr. Bracco, our vice chair, is correct. I remember reading the bylaws an awful lot, and I believe he is correct.
Well, if it's that we have to appoint an actual chair, and we have a volunteer to be the chair. Since Mr. Curfews is interested.
Yes, yeah, I was volunteering if that was the question, Madam Chair, excuse me.
Yes, we're looking for volunteers.
That was my volunteer.
Okay.
Yeah, if we need a motion on that, I'll go ahead and move that Nick Curfews is the chair for the local affiliate committee.
I'll second that.
James St. John.
All right. Any discussion? All right. Any objections to Mr. Curfews being appointed local affiliate committee chair? All right, hearing none. Mr. Curfews, congratulations.
Congratulations, and I look forward. I'll talk with you on that, Nick.
Yeah, thank you. Dean, let's figure out where there aren't affiliates and see what we can do.
Absolutely.
All right, for communications committee, I had two interested gentlemen in this position. They were both planning to be on the meeting, and both of them have family emergencies going on right now, so neither one was able to attend. So I would prefer to table this for now until they can actually talk with the committee. I think they both have very different skills and probably would benefit from maybe having a press relations person and a marketing person. But I guess we'll have to make at least one of them the actual chair and go from there. But
So, Madam Chair, are you looking to table this until the February meeting?
yes.
I move that we table this particular business item, I guess, nomination of the communication committee chair to the February meeting.
I second it.
All right.
All right, who caught the second on that?
Austin did and I did. So you can put Austin.
All right.
All right. Any opposed? All right, let's move on to new business.
Madam Chair, I would like to move that we amend the agenda to move the rally against the war machine discussion to first on the list of new business.
Please state your name when.
This is Paul Bracco.
Austin Craig, second it.
All right, any opposed? Amending the agenda. All right, well, Madam Chair, you have the floor.
Thank you so much. I'm speaking on behalf of Andrew Watkins, who has also put in a lot of work on this issue. So the Libertarian Party and the People's Party are working together to hold an anti-war rally in Washington, D.C. at the Lincoln Memorial on February 19th. It's really exciting. We have joined forces on this single issue coalition, and we're both really passionate about it and taking a very principled, bold stance when it's a wildly unpopular issue with Republicans and Democrats. We've got a really great lineup of speakers that we're building at rageagainstwar.com. I anticipate we're going to add a few more strong libertarian voices to the lineup. Right now, we are fundraising. Our goal is $45,000. We're going to have to triage our fundraising issues. Right now, pretty much everything that we're fundraising for is going to go towards strictly logistics. We need to pay for a stage. We need to pay for sound. We have to have porta potties. There's all kinds of permitting requests. So all the money that we've raised so far is going towards that. And I imagine the next $10,000 we're going to raise is going to go towards that as well. I think this is a great event for you guys to help sponsor because it's sort of in your backyard. And I would also love to see you guys tabling there because that would just be like really good press for the local affiliate. And I think it would be fantastic for you. So we're asking for your support. The National Party has pledged $1,500 in support. And I'm hoping that we get more as well as we get a little bit closer to the date. And if you have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions for our chair?
Yes, this is Jason Bruce, Secretary. Madam Chair. Regarding the setting up of the table there, any idea just off the cuff what that's going to run cost-wise?
I think $500 is the minimum sponsorship, and if you sponsor, you get a table. And right now, I believe pretty much all the table spots we have are good. We don't have any that are going to be sucky and stuck in the back.
Got it. Thanks. In that case, I'll motion to pledge 500 for support on Rally Against the War Machine.
CD1, Nick Curfew, second.
All right, any discussion?
Yeah, can I ask a question on that? Is that the $500 for the table, or is that just $500 as a donation?
Well, it's essentially the same. A sponsorship is a donation that'll go directly towards what we need for the event. And then you also get a table and you get listed on the website.
Thank you.
I have a comment as well.
Sure.
I have to be tactful because I'm probably going to make everybody mad at me when I say this. So I am probably going to vote against this, but I need to be clear. I actually do support it. I want us to pass this. The reason that I'm voting against it is that I have reservations. There's too much to it to discuss it all in this meeting, but the basic issue that I have with it, and this is something that is partially just a thing with libertarians, but it becomes more of a problem when we ally with other groups on certain topics, including important topics like anti-war stuff. We end up putting our name on a bundle of different positions, not all of which I think are the proper things that we should be supporting. And 8 out of 10 isn't bad, and that's why I do think that we should do it. But I think that there are some issues with this potentially, And I don't have any other good way to register that concern other than by voting against this. If I didn't think that other people were just going to vote for this and it's going to pass anyway, I probably would vote for it. But I do want to register that, so I'm probably going to vote against it. I would love to discuss with you at greater length the reservations that I have. I don't want to spend a lot of time in this meeting on that, but I did just want to say that because I think that there are certain problems with libertarian anti-war messaging right now. And in part that also relates to actually what Angela mentioned about things being very unpopular. There are ways to talk about unpopular subjects that can be better. And there are also different ways to prioritize things. And right now, I think that the way a lot of libertarians are talking about anti-war stuff is not in an effective or good way. And I'm worried that that's going to happen with this event. Again, I overall support this. I want to make that very clear. Don't get mad at me, people. I just had to express that point.
I'd like to respond just for one quick minute.
Sure.
Yeah, Logan, I absolutely respect your position on that. I'm going to disagree with you effectively. I think that, kind of building these issue-oriented coalitions is not necessarily a bad thing. And I do think that when you're going to an event called Rally Against the War Machine with a very specific criteria and agenda and everything like that, I think that more or less people are going to recognize that we're all just there to kind of be against the machinations of the DoD and all of that other good stuff. But in general, I definitely appreciate the position on it. I just personally I disagree, and I think this is a very good opportunity for us to kind of bounce back after the whole debacle that we just went through to start getting some more visibility. So that's all I got.
Any other questions or discussion? All right, let's move to a vote. So we are voting on the motion to support this endeavor with $500. So we'll start with CD1, Mr. Kervies.
CD1 Nick Curfeys is a yes.
Okay, CD3, Mr. St. John.
James St. John, vote yes.
Okay, CD4, Mr. Wises.
Paul Weisick says yes.
Okay. CD5, Mr. Curtis.
Vote yes.
All right, CD7, Mr. Norton. There, Mr. Norton.
Yeah, sorry about that. Bad signal zone. I vote yes.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Hoy.
I'm going to soften what I was saying a little bit, and I'm going to abstain.
Okay. CD9, Mr. Craig.
I am actually going to abstain as well, like Mr. Hoy has.
Okay. CD11, Mr. Cunningham.
Yes.
Mr. Treasurer.
Dan John, yes.
Mr. Secretary.
Yes.
Mr. Vice Chair.
Yes.
All right, and I am going to vote yes as well. So I believe that motion passes. So, Mr. Treasurer, I will let you handle sending funds to our esteemed chair.
Will do.
Can I bring up something about that, Greg? So it's February 19th. When is our next meeting?
What was that?
When is our next meeting for this meeting? What day is it on? Remember?
For the, I'm having trouble hearing you with the background noise.
February 19th.
Okay, so it's the same date. How are we gonna, who's going to set the table? I mean, who's gonna be there at the table? I mean, is that gonna be something we'll figure out later on, or how do we determine who's gonna be there?
So perhaps Mr. Hoy, maybe yourself and Mr. Cunningham, maybe we can work with LP Nova on that to see who's going to get a table staffed. I'm sure we're going to have a lot of representation from LP Nova.
Sure, and as long as I'm in town, I'll help out. Although I want to say, depending on what is being said at the table, I might not be an official tabling person, but I'll still help out.
Help with setup and cleanup.
Yeah.
All right. Any other discussion on that? Okay. So let's go back to first item, new business, potential date for an in-person SCC meeting. So one of the things that I really would like to do this year is have at least 3 in-person meetings so that we can all be in the same room, look each other in the eye. I think it makes for better camaraderie in general. So I was thinking of having our first in-person meeting in April. I would like to have it out in Roanoke or somewhere in that area of the state. I really don't get out there, and I would like to be able to meet all the members of the LPVA that are out there, and I think it would, show good faith for us to have a meeting out there and visit with them as well.
If you don't mind me saying, if when you have a date, let me know, and I'll try to work with Brian Heiner and a few others to get it.
So I know that Easter is in April. I'm trying to remember which. I guess that's the second weekend of April, so we definitely want to avoid that. How does the third weekend in April look for people?
This is the weekend of the 15th and 16th.
Yes.
As long as we do some sort of protest against tax day.
We could do that.
The burning of the W-2s.
I think we can definitely arrange.
I second that.
Yeah, I was looking at the calendar and realized I'll have to make sure my taxes are due before that weekend.
Maybe burn Woodrow Wilson in effigy.
Does anyone have requests for a different meeting in April?
I do want to make a request that can we have a meet on a Saturday instead of a Sunday night or earlier in the Sunday? Because I'd hate to have to drive home like this late at night back to Richmond, and you even further. If our meeting starts at 8 o'clock on a Sunday night and then we're done at 9, you have to drive 3 hours home or 4 hours home.
No, we would probably do it Saturday during the day.
Okay, that's what I was making sure. That's all. Thank you.
Mr. Curtis?
For what it's worth, I work as a CPA. I would not be able to attend a meeting, unfortunately, because of the tax deadline.
Okay.
Not that I expect the rest of the party to schedule events around my schedule, but
okay.
To be fair, you're not the only CPA in the room. Would the 16th be your guys' sigh of relief, or did that get extended out to the 17th again?
it's actually extended until the 18th, since the 17th is Emancipation Day or some DC holiday.
Got it.
So the hits keep coming.
Well, I think I would assume that our esteemed treasurer would also be affected by that. So would it be better to do the next weekend? 21st, 22nd weekend?
We could do that.
Or am I looking at the dates wrong?
22nd,
23rd.
Yeah. Anyone have any conflicts with that? Okay. So I guess CD. So Mr. Craig, are you out that way?
Yes, ma'am, I am. Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay. If maybe you want to get with Mr. Davidson and Mr. Heiner and some of the other libertarians out that way and find a place where we could potentially have a meeting on the 22nd of April.
All right, yeah, we'll get working on that.
All right. Thank you. Look forward to seeing you all in person in a few months.
Yep.
All right. The Constitution Committee, Mr. Vice Chair.
Yes, so before all of the craziness last year, I'm sure everybody was aware that there was a scheduled constitutional convention. And that didn't end up happening because notice requirement wasn't met. I don't know that we want to throw so many conventions at people that we hold one this year, but I do think that the original intent of that convention was to address some deficiencies in the current governing document structure and the specifics within the Constitution itself as well. I think it would be worthwhile to spin up a committee. Maybe I'm thinking maybe 5 people for that, assuming that we get people who are interested in good candidates for doing it. But that would probably be something where the intention of it would be to present a report at the 2024 regular convention rather than some kind of special convention. So just want to get everybody's thoughts on that.
Well, if the floor is open, I don't think we have to wait that long. I think it's fine to do it this year. But I think that one way to do it would be, and perhaps for this committee that you're mentioning, to basically try to get a poll of the membership and get their general sentiments first, and then we go from there.
So,
just to clarify here, this would be what I'm talking about is creating the committee this year with the intention of crafting that report
for the stuff next
to
year
be heard at the convention next year.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to say that I think it would be. I don't think it's a bad idea, but I think it would be fine to move up the timeline, honestly.
Well, to move up the timeline would require us to set up a special convention because this committee cannot amend the Constitution.
Right.
So I don't know.
Just to kind of throw out a consideration here. So I was looking up our founding date, which was, I guess, 11/24/1973. So the end of this year is going to mark the 50-year anniversary for LPVA. That being said, I think that it's a great time to throw a pretty sizable party combined with potentially a little bit of business. I would kind of take the perspective on this that this is, primarily business and fundraising opportunity for us, but that could be a target date for you if you wanted to do another convention this year, knowing that I guess 4 months later we would be doing another convention. Just food for thought.
This would be like September?
No. So what I'm saying is that if you wanted to do a convention this year for the Constitution, I would say let's marry that up with any activity that we would be doing for the 50th anniversary of the LPVA. We do those jointly. But again, we have the general convention would be, 4 months later.
Regular convention.
Correct.
I just figured to do the party with the regular convention, but
so how about this? I kind of think these are separate issues. So this committee is definitely empowered to call a special convention if we want to. Maybe just get this committee, rather than trying to sort of target it to one or the other, get this committee spun up, and with very few exceptions, anything that could be in a report and be heard at a special state convention could also be heard at a regular state convention. So it's just like, all right, maybe it's if the committee wants to, then we'll call a special state convention on this date with the agenda item of hearing these things that just so happen to correspond perfectly with the committee's report. Okay. And if not, then okay, it's in whatever February, March of next year at the regular convention.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm just, I'm putting it out there. I'm kind of echoing, I think, a little bit of what Jen was hinting at, doing several of these conventions, because I mean, again, we just paid out $2,300-$2,400 for for this last convention that we did. And honestly, we got a deal on that. So you'd have to kind of expect that we'd be looking at something similar, maybe a little bit less flashy. But whatever. I mean, I'm just saying in general, maybe we shouldn't look at it as, it's fine to do a convention now and then we're going to do another convention a couple months later. I mean, I'm not saying that you necessarily have to target this to one of the dates that I just threw out there, but I think consolidating some of these expensive expenditures would be a good idea. Just my thoughts.
Well, if there is going to be a 50th anniversary party, if that's going to include a convention as well, I would kind of expect that there should be some sort of committee spun up to handle that. I wouldn't really want this particular constitutional amendment focus committee to sort of double as a event planning committee. Those are different skill sets.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
So,
I'm just
just
saying you could.
It is what I'm saying. To not do that, please don't.
Yes, yes, I agree.
So I'll leave it to others, whether it's a party or it's a party and a convention. But I do think that there are still things that need to get addressed in the current governing document.
I mean, all of that can be fleshed out later. Are we looking to establish this committee? Because if so, I'll absolutely right now motion to establish the Constitution Committee, because you're absolutely right. We need to get those documents in much better order. So yeah, if that's it, I'm all for motioning to do that. We don't need to set a date right now.
I would be inclined to not do it this meeting, because I'd want to solicit volunteers for that. It's similar way to what we're doing for the national platform rep. So send out an email to the membership. Here's an application form. What would you want to do? What's your experience working with bylaws? Are you a lawyer? Do you do this sort of thing professionally or as an amateur for some reason? But
presumably you would be chairing this though, correct?
I am not going to make a motion to make myself chair. If somebody else wants to, that's fine. I would be abstaining on any vote.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and throw you under the bus for it. So I'll, and just as my 2 cents, I mean, at least this way you would be soliciting, for folks to do this based on the already pre-established committee, rather than we're looking to do this, let's see who we get. So I'm going to move that we establish the Constitution Committee with Paul Bracco as chair.
Austin Craig, second.
Any further discussion?
So James St. John, I have a question.
Yes.
It was mentioned that this committee has the ability to just call a special convention by itself.
This committee being the SCC.
Okay, then.
Any other questions? All right. Anyone opposed to Mr. Bracco being chair of this new LPVA Constitution Committee? Mr. Bracco, would you like to be on record as abstaining?
Sure, I would like to expressly abstain.
Okay. All right, but congratulations.
Congratulations is accepted.
All right, next order of business, SASLA funding discussion. Mr. Treasurer.
All right, so we have funding that was earmarked specifically to recall. I can't remember his first name, but he was essentially a state senator who made was trying to push anti-gun legislation. We did a recall effort, raised a lot of money, and he pulled his bill. So it worked, and we were left with a ton of money. Specifically, we have $13,241.46 that is in our coffers that we basically can't use. There are ways to get around it. The most expedient one that I'm aware of, and I believe I sent an email out to everyone on this, or at least to some people. We have a couple of options, but really, I think the best option that we have is to donate that money to another organization. So when you have excess funding so if you go to 24.2-949.9 final report requiring disbursement of surplus funds and go to subsection B, you'll read that amounts received by a political action committee as contributions may be disposed of only by one or any combination of the following. And it's got a whole bunch, but donating the excess to any organization described in section 170C of the Internal Revenue Code, i.e. essentially nonprofits. Paul, looks like you have a question. Is it?
So it is exclusively limited to, is this like 501c3 nonprofits, or can we donate it to a political entity such as another PAC?
My understanding is that we are able to shift it to another political, like another PAC. So that is my understanding.
Okay.
Can we create a libertarian PAC and donate the money to that?
So that would be my suggestion, Carl. My suggestion is that we probably just push it to the LNC and have them essentially give them the money. Now, this is all like, I am not a lawyer, and this is also not my specialty. I do not specialize in nonprofit actions, but if it is my understanding that we can donate it. Now there are other.
I meant one within Virginia, not the national.
So there was, so originally the suggestion that was voted on like 2 years ago, or maybe even more by this point. Actually, yeah, it was probably more than 2 years ago, was that it get pushed over to VCDL. VCDL is not the biggest fan of libertarians. And since it was done by a prior, I don't even know if they actually, I couldn't find any minutes establishing it. I found an email that had the suggestion in it or something like that. So that was the last I saw of that kind of thing. We can absolutely we have a big variety that we can donate it to, but it's up to the board. I would probably lean toward a libertarian organization. If there is a libertarian organization in Virginia that is worthwhile of donating that $13,000 to, that makes sense for us, then I'd be interested. The LNC is fine, to me to donate to, but again, it's something to be discussed.
Mr. White?
So I guess Logan.
Yeah, so one thing I was gonna mention was the VCDL point that you just mentioned, Dan. Something to keep in mind in considering how to resolve this issue is, keeping things in line with the original sentiments of the people who donated the money, both just as a general ethical thing and also in order to avoid problems. That's part of the reason why people wanted to go with the VCDL, because the VCDL is a pretty effective, gun rights organization, and it's in Virginia. Obviously, the VCDL has their issues with us that created a problem. I don't think we're going to have that problem if we wanted to donate to Gun Owners of America, and I don't think we're going to have that problem if we want to donate to the National LP, but we might have people saying, well, hey, that's not what I donated for. I donated for specifically gun stuff in Virginia. So that I just want to bring that up because that's stuff that we have to keep in mind in determining how to deal with this in order to avoid problems. And the solution might actually be to not make everybody perfectly happy, but to come to some acceptable compromise in which we split up the funds, perhaps between a couple of different organizations that are broadly representative of the mission that we want, such as Gun Owners of America and the LPVA. And I don't know, maybe Heller's latest lawsuit. That's not Virginia, but it's DC. It's still important and in the general vicinity, so that might be the thing to do to split it up a little bit.
So I don't want to make, I skip past it pretty quickly, but I don't want to make light of the people that donated the money, that $13,000, even though we did not use it, accomplished the mission that we were trying to do. So we did an excellent job of getting effectively scaring our competition into pulling the legislation. So it is their money was used well, even if it was not used as expected. So I don't want to, again, push that.
Is anybody familiar enough with it or experienced it or donated to it that can speak to it, that like, if it was a libertarian thing, then why couldn't we give it back to the LNC or an LNC related nonprofit or whatever it could be? You know what I mean? Like, that's what.
I forgot to say this when I was talking before. One of the reasons why, just to kind of go into it a little bit more deeply, it's not that it's just something generally libertarian versus a very specific topic and a very specific instance of one topic. It's also that in broadening out that stuff, there's been changes, there's been turnover in nationals over that time, and there are still people who are not as happy as some of us are about those changes at nationals, and who might make us think about it, who might specifically take this as a way to make us think about something. And we have to think about the vulnerabilities that we might be creating if we just give it to nationals, which is why I think that we have to think very hard if we go that route, and it might be best to split things up a little bit.
No, I totally, I agree with, I kind of understand where you're coming from. I think it would be harder. I appreciate the multiple different idea, but it could be harder to do that and more paperwork, and no one wants more fucking paperwork. But maybe there is something outside of that.
Can Virginia Libertarian Party create a nonprofit or something like that, and then we donate it to that so we keep it in the state?
That's a very good idea. I think that's a good idea. Could we think about creating our own nonprofit.
That
Well, hang on. Let's we actually had Mr. Curtis who had his hand up.
We were talking about doing something that's making us a pact or something. I mean, yeah, pact, right? Or a what do you want to call it? We go to politicians and talk to them. We were talking about that earlier, looking into that. If we do something with that, I don't know. But I like to keep the money in the state. Giving it to the national is not going to do us any good or anybody else who's donated to the state.
I'm actually going to let Mr. Davidson talk real quick because apparently they had already voted to disperse this money.
Okay, yeah, and I believe it was 2021. And I'll have to find the minutes because we changed so many times. I was secretary, I was in vice chair, that was chair. So it's probably in somebody else's minutes that never pushed them through. But I will say it was voted to give to the VCDL. Now, I just want to also say at the VCDL, I've heard a lot of their bashed libertarians. I want everybody to understand that my campaign for the House of Delegates, I was in a very red district that Republicans run, and I was a libertarian candidate, and I was endorsed by the VCDL over that Republican candidate. So the VCDL is not as bad as an organization as people think it is. Gun Owners of America is also a good one. I think I'm not going to change anybody's minds, but I wouldn't mind giving something national too. So dispersing it in multiple ways or developing a pack for the state is probably your best option. But you probably have to vote to rescind the vote in 2021, I believe it was, to not give it to the VCADL and then do forth from there.
Just a quick point of information on that. Dean, first and foremost, man, we're actually going to need those minutes that verify all of that.
Like I said, it might not be me. It might be
Yeah.
Nick Dunbar has those minutes, so I'm gonna try to find them for you.
Yep, check. I appreciate it. No, Mr. Curtis, your hand has been up for a while, so that's on you, buddy.
Thank you. It's assuming a vote hasn't already been taken to disperse these funds. I had a question for the treasurer. If I recall correctly, part of that fundraiser was a pledge to return the money to the donors if it wasn't used for a recall. Does the treasurer know if we have records of that requirement and if that is another option that we should be considering?
I've heard mixed between that it has been done and that it hasn't been done. So I've heard from Andrew Watkins and Bo Brown that they thought that had been done, and then they thought it was getting taken care of. I can't confirm whether that ever happened or not. I just know that effort is going to be excessive. It's 273 people that donated that. The refunding process would be quite extensive. The time it would take for somebody to do that, I mean, I don't mind if anybody is willing to volunteer for that, to do that, to head that up. That is definitely a viable thing, but I don't even know if it's already been done. So that's kind of where that situation's at.
And I stand corrected
Thank
when
you.
the vote was taken. The vote was taken, I believe, when Mr. Kennedy was the treasurer. So just to let you know, that's about how far back this last law thing is.
How come y'all didn't disperse the money then? If y'all voted on it.
Nobody ever was willing to disperse the money. We didn't have a treasurer that was able to do so.
Mr. Bracco.
So it sounds like there's been a couple of concerns. I want to express my extreme opposition to starting our own thing. That is going to be a lot of overhead. There are plenty of organizations that exist that can do this sort of work, and I think that it would be much more efficient to funnel this towards those organizations. Now, there have been some concerns how libertarian aligned is VCDL. Honestly, they seem kind of not all, like, on some things, yes, but everybody is on some things if you want to look hard enough. But if anybody's familiar with the term FUD, I would suggest something a little bit different. I know there's been some talk about Gun Owners of America. They're an organization that's a little bit more aligned, I think, ideologically. Somebody who I would look into is they are a national organization. I would actually explore if we could potentially earmark it for use in Virginia. Is Firearm Policy Coalition. They're the kind of gun rights group that sues people for not letting somebody print a gun in their garage. I think they're a lot closer to us. So that would be my suggestion: is Firearm Policy Coalition, earmarking it for some kind of a firearms related lawsuit in Virginia.
Here. I'm with you, Paul.
Sounds good to me.
I'm 100% behind all of what you just said. Love it.
Mr. St. John.
You're muted, James.
Sorry there. I know it was supposed to have been done when Bailey Dover was the treasurer, but were any actual repayments made before? Because I remember that I think some were made, but and some people just hadn't responded or we couldn't respond. So
I could not tell.
Okay. You have
Her
no
records.
transactions?
So I have the refunds that occur on Stripe. Like there are numerous. It seems like it occurs fairly often. I have to pull that out of the data when I'm looking at it, because there's like, for some reason, there's a constant stream of refunds. Like money gets put in, then it gets pulled out immediately. To me, it doesn't look like it. Going off of what I think has occurred, I don't believe a refund effort happened, but that is going against what some people remember occurring. So I don't know.
Yeah, I remember something was supposed to happen. I can't recall if something actually did happen.
I guess it doesn't matter if it's not in writing. It didn't happen. So if we don't have the minutes or they did anything with anything, it didn't happen. So that's just the way it is. Memory's not accurate. The way it is there.
Well, that's a lot of money to, just give again if it's already been given to somebody.
Mr. Craig.
Oh, yes. I wanted to ask again how much exactly the money was again, and would it be possible for us just to split the money to different organizations?
The money is $13,241.46. If we can split it, yeah, I'm pretty sure we can split it. It doesn't matter how we break it up.
I do believe that would be our best bet. It was, of course, honestly, I think we should make a motion to just table this for right now, because I do believe that we have a lot to discuss when it comes to the SASLO funds. We got to figure out, what's going on, what was voted on in the past, if there's record of it. But, when it comes down to it, I do believe that we should, sort of all sit down and kind of figure out where we can split it off at, split it to different organizations, Gun Right Act, so then we can send, maybe a couple bucks to the LNC, like stuff like that.
I don't mind tabling this. It's something that we don't have to solve it tonight. It's been a problem since 2019, so it can continue to be a problem for later. We can just think about what kind of organizations we want, think of a good split.
Well, yeah, Mr. John, do you have like maybe 3 things right now that you could say real quick that we need to figure out to get this going forward? Because it should be tabled. I think there's a lot more to it. So
Sure. So for just, we should think of who we want to donate the money to. And I really think that's the key, and how much. And I think that's kind of where we're at with it. And I think that's the most important thing. And once we can kind of all agree on that kind of breakout, I think then we can move forward from there and make it happen. The transfers, I think will just be donations, because it'll be how I'll be filing it is for the Virginia Department of Elections, and how it looks on the filing form, but it can go in as, regular donation on their side, however they receive donations. So I guess let's answer some more questions, and I'll make a motion to table for next
no,
week.
I mean, I think right now is what I'm getting at is like, let's give a timeline or a projected time to figure this out.
Yeah, next meeting. I think, I mean, I don't think it should take, sorry. Yeah, I'm tabling it specifically for next meeting.
I'll second that.
I love you.
So, is there a motion that was made there?
Yeah.
Because I'd like to make one motion. Well, I don't
Go
know. If
ahead.
you've already made it and seconded, actually, then I guess it is. I would like to discuss that motion then.
Go ahead and discuss.
So I think we should do one thing before we table it. Since there is so much ambiguity about what was or wasn't done in the past, I think we should vote officially to rescind any previous decision of how to allocate this, and then we'll figure it out in the clear. There's no sort of contradiction with something that was voted on in the past. We'll figure it out, whatever it is, and then we'll just get it done next meeting. So I think I would ask that you, for this time, don't vote to table yet. And instead, I will propose making a motion to rescind whatever previous decision, any and all previous decisions that were made regarding the allocation of these funds. Hopefully that passes, and then we vote to table it.
Sure, I'll second it. Carl, why is it?
Well, I can't actually make that motion right now because we have a motion on the floor.
Dan,
so
you can
this
withdraw.
I rescind.
There you
Can
go.
I rescind my motion?
Yep, got
Okay.
it.
Done.
I would like to motion that we rescind any and all previous decisions on the allocation of the recall SAS funds.
Second it, Austin Craig.
Mr. St. John? You're muted.
Okay, we'll try this again, take 2. I'm going to object to rescinding any former decision that we made until we actually know what we ourselves are going to do. That's all I have to say, sorry.
Mr. Hart?
And more to James's point, one of the issues that we're running into right now, one of the reasons that we want to rescind these things is because of a lack of information about some prior decisions that were made in terms of having the minutes to, support that and everything else. And yet at the same time, that's a reason to not take action yet until we get some of that further information. Because even though we might still have to make such a vote, it's a little irresponsible to do that without knowing what we're rescinding.
So Mr. Hora, do you think this is premature that we're doing this?
I like Dan's idea to table. The thing is, I think that we have to make our vote to rescind also a little later as well.
I kind of lean towards the same way. I was just trying to figure out like what more of a vote right now would matter.
So if I could speak to what both Mr. St. John and Mr. Hoy were talking about, I would love it if the meeting minutes from whatever got decided in the past just appeared in everybody's email inboxes. I just don't anticipate that happening. I think it's going to take quite a while, longer than next meeting, to track all that stuff down if we ever can. I admit that this was a broad motion. It is intended to be so that we basically don't have the possibility, whatever is decided, so hopefully we'll decide something next meeting. Whatever is decided is not in conflict with whatever was previously voted on, because everything's been rescinded. Like, I think we'd have to do that anyway at some point, no matter what we end up deciding to do with this money, just to make sure that we're not contradicting something, even if it like just magically happens to align with what was voted on in the past 2 years ago or whatever. If those meetings minutes are to show up long after we make this decision. So I think we have to do this no matter what.
Mr. Bracco, I agree with you, and I called a question.
All right. Would you guys like to do this as a roll call, or?
Well, Madam Chair, point of parliamentary information, I believe we have to vote on calling the question.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Any opposed to calling the
I think
question?
it's immediately triggered, isn't it?
We have to vote on it, though. Yes, it is an immediate vote, but we do have to vote on it.
Oh, okay. Right.
That's right. All right. Any opposed to calling the question? All right. Anyone abstaining? All right. Now we get to vote on the motion. So do people want to do this as a roll call?
I think we have to, because this is a financial thing, and those are required to be 2/3, and any 2/3 vote is required to be a roll call.
Okay.
Agreed on my motion with Paul.
Okay. All right. So we'll start with.
Real quick, can I just get, because I just walked in the house, but I heard tabling this motion, adding this motion. Can I get a clarification on what we are actually voting on?
We're voting on rescinding whatever the previous vote was from the SCC in the past.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right.
Point of information real quick. Does this actually does not affect us expending funds if we're just voting to rescind the decision of, whatever might have happened previously? We're not sending funds out for that. So this would just be a simple majority.
We are unsending funds, though.
That would be affirming that the previous decision was to actually send funds out, and we don't know that.
Yeah, and I'll clarify that my full intent is to figure this out, and any funds that needs to be dispersed should be.
I have a parliamentary inquiry. Is voting to rescind a previous vote? I haven't heard about, where does that fall? I guess constitutionally, or is it in Roberts?
That's going to be in Roberts. I'm going to have to look it up if you want me to.
No, I'm just curious, because it's not something I've heard of, of rescinding a previous vote. I mean, unless there was a reason. I guess they just never got around to sending the money. Does that mean the vote was still illegitimate? Or I guess that was my only question for clarification on that.
I think the reason for doing this is because we don't know what they were supposed to do with it. So this way we're not going against the board decision. We're saying we're rescinding that.
Mm-hmm. But I guess to go on with what one of those was saying is, should we wait to know if there are minutes before we vote to rescind?
To clarify, the reason why I am proposing this motion is because there are not minutes.
Got it. Right, because everything was deleted.
Well, someone probably has them somewhere.
Correct. I think that the decision is, or that we're proposing is to make right what we can. And we'll decide if we ever find out more.
Got it. Yeah. Okay, I agree.
Well, let's vote on this and see what happens. So CD1, Mr. Curfews.
Yes, CD1, yes.
CD3, Mr. St. John.
Can we restate what we're voting on right now? I've been having issues.
To rescind any and all decision on allocations for the recall SASLA funds.
I'm objecting, and
Okay.
until we know what we're doing, I'm objecting.
Sorry, is that a no or an abstention?
No.
Okay, thanks.
All right, CD4.
I'm voting for it to get rid of whatever they didn't do last time.
Is that a yes? Okay. CD5, Mr. Curtis.
I vote no.
Okay. CD7, Mr. Norton.
I'm going to vote no.
Okay. CD8, Mr. Hoy.
I'm also going to vote no.
All right, CD9, Mr. Craig.
I am going to vote yes on the motion.
Okay. CD11, Mr. Cunningham.
No.
Okay. All right, Mr. Treasurer.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Secretary.
Yes.
Mr. Vice Chair.
Yes.
All right, so we've got. Did I get everybody?
I need confirmation on CD4. It came through garbled.
He voted yes.
Okay, thanks.
So correct me if I'm wrong. We have 6 yes and 5 no.
Correct.
What do we need for 2/3?
We are already short of 2/3. We need 8 votes for that.
Okay. Okay. Well then, that does not pass.
I would like to propose a motion to table this discussion till next meeting, February, what's the date?
We haven't picked a date yet for February.
Well, then in February, next meeting that we have, I'd like to table this discussion for that date.
Second.
Logan Hoy, second Dan John's motion.
All right. Any opposed?
Can I amend the motion? Can I amend it? Sorry. See Austin Craig. Sorry.
What would you like to amend?
To be able to move the discussion to the SCC group. And then, of course, we can vote on it at the next meeting.
Can we not do that? Is that necessary?
Yeah, there's nothing prohibiting us from doing that already.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yes, we can still discuss. We just can't vote.
Yeah, I think he said because you guys said to table the discussion until next meeting, not table the vote.
Sorry, table. That is my.
Thank you.
You are correct.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I'd like to table the decision on allocation of funds for the SASLA recall effort.
Yep. Second.
To the next meeting.
All right. Any opposed? Any comments?
I want to add something, David Norton, CD7. I think just for a lot of us to vote no, it wasn't necessarily that we want to vote no, it's that we want to make sure that there's just been any good faith effort, if you will, to find that vote. If it's not there, if we can't find it, then we can't find it. But to at least for Mr. Davidson or whoever else might have access, who might find it. And if there's been a good faith effort after that, then next time we vote on it, we just move on. But I think maybe that was just the holdup. I don't know if we can how to propose that in a way. I don't know if there's a few people that want to be in charge of looking at it, and then maybe you guys can tell me better.
Well, I will definitely be in contact with Mr. Davidson to see if he can find these minutes. I will try and reach out to Nick Dunbar as well to see if he has anything he can give me.
John Candy was the treasurer then too, right?
That is correct.
John Penny was the treasurer. I'm
Well, he
secretary.
might have it too.
Okay.
Yeah, I think just once those people have been checked with, if nobody has anything, if there's no minutes recorded, then at that point we move on. I think it's just checking with those first before making that decision.
All right. Well, we've got a motion to table. So, anyone opposed to tabling this until next meeting? All right. We got some research to do. Mr. Treasurer, you wanted to also discuss fundraising.
Yes. So if people don't know, we got a lawyer to produce an opinion memo on the dissolution efforts, and that cost money, cost a lot of money. I funded that, thinking initially that it wasn't going to cost as much as it did, and it cost a whole lot of money. So I was hoping that we could do a fundraising effort to ameliorate the costs for the lawyer fees that I incurred for the dissolution opinion memo. The total cost of that was $13,971.70. And I would just I have contacted Andrew Watkins, who's going to be bringing it up to the LNC as well, to see if they can kind of fundraise for that. But I'd like to at least just get it out there that I do have the final costs on that. And we do have an opinion memo. It is good. It was very useful. It's nice to see that we have basically the law on our side, and their opinion came up very positive for our efforts. But everything costs in this world, so.
It's been nice having that when I do talk to the press, to be able to kind of summarize and say, yes, we actually have gotten legal advice. So, Mr. Treasurer, are you looking for us to set up a fundraiser specifically for this?
That's actually, I don't know what the best efforts are, what we can do or can't do. And I don't even know the best way of going about fundraising. It's unfortunately, I'm not particularly well versed in that, but yeah, I would like some sort of effort, either email or something like that, sent out to our members saying like, hey, we, spent money. We'd like to, we got this thing out of it, and we'd like to maybe, try to raise funding that way. But yeah, some way to fundraise to get money in.
does the state have a fundraising committee, anything like that? In the Libertarian Party?
Not at the moment, unless there are people that I'm not aware of that are doing fundraising right now. But, Mr. St. John?
You're muted, James.
Take three here. What was the number? I don't recall hearing that.
$13,971.70.
All right, thank you.
And I have, of course, all the receipts. They itemize all their hours.
We could definitely solicit the members for this, but I don't know how much money that would actually raise us. Do you know when the LNC is going to discuss this?
I think Andrew is going to be talking to maybe next Friday. I possibly.
Okay.
I'd have to check with them again. I contacted him earlier, maybe a couple of days ago. But yeah, I think it's within next week.
Yeah, Mr. Vice Chair.
Could we set up some sort of special landing page for this, or somehow, if donations were to come in for this, that they be earmarked for this rather than just some sort of generic general fund donation?
I think that we would need to get our IT director to do that, but I think that's possible.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's how much the fees are involved, but a GoFundMe page is also a simple way to do that. And then that would be just something completely outside of the party. And then we can also use that and send it out. I think a lot of the other state parties as well might be interested. I mean, or at least individuals who are very aware of our case and very aware of what happened would be all too happy to pitch in a little bit.
It would still be better for us to funnel it through our financial mechanisms though, because GoFundMe will take a piece of it if we do it that way.
Gotcha. Yeah, I didn't know what the difference was.
We would actually have to do it through, we could not do it, sorry, through our stuff, because we have to collect some information that GoFundMe would not collect. Like,
God, oh yeah. For
there's a lot of
filing.
political donation requirements.
Yes,
that
that makes sense.
aren't necessarily required by GoFundMe.
All right, so that's kind of the long and short of it. We can table this for the next meeting till we get more information on the what the LNC is going to do. And for now, we can just establish a landing page and set up for the potential fundraising effort that I'd like to try.
Sounds good.
Does that need to go to a vote, or was that a motion to table?
That's a motion to well, it's actually, can we move forward with creating a landing page, move forward with setting up the software side of it, and table this fundraising effort till next meeting, till we basically have more information from LNC, what we can do with them. So that is, I guess, a motion.
That might have to be separate motions.
I
Table
feel-
and other stuff.
Do the other things need a motion?
I'm not sure that they do.
That's where my thing is. If
Yeah.
those don't need a motion, then let's just go ahead and table fundraising for the LPVA fees next meeting, and we'll just move forward with that with the other stuff.
So this is just a motion to table.
Just a motion to table.
Seconded, Paul Bracco, Vice Chair.
All right. Anyone opposed? All right. I do think that we probably can talk to Mr. Kraus about getting us a page to do fundraising for the future. So I know he couldn't be here tonight. So.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Events coordination, Mr. Secretary.
All right, thanks. I'm going to be really quick about these next two items because it's already 10 o'clock. But been talking with a few of the other folks, and a lot of us have kind of been saying the same thing, that we definitely need to get out there a little bit more in terms of actually doing events. I mean, I know a lot of our local affiliates, from time to time, they do events. So just right now, all I'm doing is just putting it on people's radar. I'm not soliciting for a motion or tabling or anything like that. But with our proposed communications team, I think that a focus that they should have would be kind of getting the LPVA out there, setting up more of these booths, getting our presence a little bit more forward. So just in general, that's something I would like to have considered for another part of the role. That's one of the many hats that our communications director or directors are going to be responsible for. Moving on from that, the mailing service.
Mr. Vice Chair.
Yep.
So specifically, what you're saying is that LPVA attends other events like state fair, etc., as a table, and just like talk to people about liberty and stuff.
Yeah,
you're not saying we hold our own events, right?
Well, I think it should be both, right?
Yeah, I'm definitely not ruling out doing both of those, but absolutely on the doing more events. I mean, just in the time that I've been here, I mean, the only events that we've done have been the convention from last February. I mean, I know Central Virginia's gone out. We did the Beaver Dam Brew Jam. Some of the other affiliates have done similar things. And I mean, every time we go out, we get more and more visibility. The fact that we haven't done it in, however long, whatever, but moving forward, I think this is, it's an absolute requirement, especially if we want to be able to do a lot of fundraising and recruitment and stuff like that. I mean, memes alone don't necessarily bring money into the coffers. So that's just, again, like it's just something that I want for people to kind of think about, because this is one of those things that requires people put in more than just, well, they're not necessarily putting their money into it, but we need to have people put in their time and effort for stuff like this.
We used to have a booth at the state fair. Anthony and Donna Grievous used to head that up. I don't know what happened the past few years, but Carl, maybe you know them, so you might know more about that.
Yeah, I think COVID because the state fair didn't happen for a couple of years, but 4 years ago, we had a table at state fair. I didn't like the location, but we still had a lot of people come by. We had little questionnaires and are you a libertarian test? That was kind of people like that, so they let them know answer questions where they fall in line of political relations or whatever the political stance is. But I was also thinking, you were talking about events, how about like the gun shows? I mean, Republican stuff, never see Democrats, but Republican stuff's there all the time. And most people are libertarians, they just don't know they are. And if we can get there, we're pro-gun. I mean, so we fit in fine. And if we can get them to show, look, this is what libertarians are. You are libertarian, you just don't know it. Um, that could be another place to go. And they have them all, every 3 months at the racetrack here in Richmond, at least.
Yep.
I'm sure they have in Roanoke, in DC area, and the big one out in Harrisonburg. So that's another location we could set up a table. They don't cost very much money. Tables done.
Well, and that's something you can do as a local affiliate as well. I know the Peninsula LP has had table a number of times at the gun shows in Hampton. I know that there was at least 1 or 2 times that they had a table at the one in Virginia Beach as well. So it wasn't a state party thing, but it was the affiliate parties.
Yes, but like the one in the racetrack. I mean, I guess West Central wants to do it. It wouldn't help like South Central do it there, but but the state could just as representing the state as libertarian, because there are people from all over the state come there too. It's not just from Richmond, so they're from all over the area. But anyway, that's just no suggestion.
So, Mr. Secretary, are you wanting us to actually have an events coordinator?
I absolutely think that we need to consider having an events coordinator. And this is kind of the part where we can kind of leave open for discussion. But I mean, as far as the overarching hierarchy of this committee thing, rather than just having 15 different committees that all need to coordinate together, we can kind of think about how that would branch out a little bit differently, and then just have one person that would kind of oversee some of those efforts. But again, my big takeaway here is just I want it to be on people's radar that I think that it would be good to kind of get some of our members together, get volunteers out there for doing some more of these events. And I mean, Dan was saying that we have roughly about a $6,000 budget that we need to start looking at burning up for this year. I think at least some of that should be towards putting into some like marketing type of materials, any of these, like the things that would go up at a booth, like a tent and flags and stuff like that. So again, just stuff to consider for next time, or not even for next time, but just in general, and something that we can kind of have an events person look into doing. But yeah, I'm not tabling anything. Or go ahead, Carl.
I think could you get an events person to the communication people that we're looking to put together? Get a marketing communication events coordinator. I mean, they all can work together. Like I said, not have so many different things, but they all kind of go hand in hand anyway.
Right.
They work together. Yeah, it's like you have a good point about putting them all in one sort of committee.
Yep. Yeah, no, exactly. And that's why I say, I mean, there's almost like there's so much hand holding in between all of that anyways. It doesn't necessarily make sense to just have 3 different committees, but I don't want to take up any more time with all of that. So unless James, you got a quick point?
I was gonna say it would be great if we could have somebody who had like a bundle of information who could take it to the different areas. I do know at gun shows you can't solicit donations. That's one thing I have learned, just for everybody's information out there.
That's fine. We can have handouts that just so happen to link to a donations page or something like that too, though. I mean, regardless, like I said, it's it's just something for folks to think about for right now. But I would almost prefer if folks were to roger up their time and effort more so than their money to a certain extent, for this next year. I mean, I think that we really need to come out hitting hard at a lot of these things to get our presence out there. But that's all I want to say about events. The other thing to consider is the mailing service. Right now, we pretty much use the CRM, and it's bulky and cumbersome. I mean, maybe I just need a little bit more familiarity with it. But there's a number of issues that a number of us have kind of highlighted over the past few months, just in terms of what the CRM can't do. There is another alternative called MailChimp. That's what I used for planning the convention or sending out emails at the convention. That works out great. I mean, you basically get a lot of the same feedback that you get from the CRM itself. there's a few things I think that we can fix with the CRM, but I need to talk to Gary about how how likely it is that we can actually get some of this stuff fixed for us, because I know the CRM team, number one, just lost Andy Burns, and then number two, they've been concentrating on the Razor's Edge data for a while now. So just in general, I think MailChimp is a really good option. It's free for under 500 contacts. Right now, on the active rosters, I think we have about 311 people, 313 people. So we would technically fall under that free plan. I think after that it jumps up to about $20 a month, something like that. But this is just, again, I'm putting it on people's radar. I'm not going to try and jump on here and say MailChimp is great, let's vote on spending money now, without people taking a little bit of time to think about it. Lawrence,
Yes, I know a lot of you may not know me. I'm on the IT committee with Gary. My company actually specializes in digital marketing, and this is our area of specialty. In fact, I just discussed this with Andrew Watkins at the last meeting. Come up with basically a marketing plan. And the marketing plan consists of coming up with a new speaker for each meeting. We'll have a website where we post the speaker, and then we'll have an event coordinator who manages the CRM software, including gathering contact data for each person who attends events. And then we'll have a creative director who's responsible for creating art and videos for a hook. And then we will post the content on the website. And then from that point, then we'll have the event manager who's responsible for reaching out to people who say they're interested and following up with contacts to bring them back in for future events, with the hope that we'll get them back in for 2 or 3 more events. And in this manner, we can build our membership base. And we were hoping to roll this out in one region first to fine tune the process before we roll it out to state. But it sounds like you guys are on the exact same page already with what you're talking about. So I wanted to chime in with what we were discussing already at the local affiliate level. We have CRM software already that does everything that you're talking about. It can manage both the contacts and the mailing lists, and we can handle all of that already.
just for clarification, are we talking about the same Civic CRM that LP uses, or are you talking about something completely different, like starting over?
Well, we have a number of different options, but we could use whatever LP National is using. We have different licenses depending upon what levels you want to go with. So we do have access to MailChimp as well. I don't personally like MailChimp because it's not as easy to use. It's not as user-friendly as some of the other options we have that cost a little more, but I already pay the licensing fees, so it doesn't cost me anything extra.
Gotcha. Well, tell you what, let's chat a little bit more about this. This is another good example of the something that the officer reports are good for if folks use it as a read ahead. Bit of a tabled this discussion. But it's good. I've got another point of contact for this, but yeah, like I said, let's talk, because I have a feeling that the LP system is not going to be an optional system. I'll put it that way. But
okay, if we don't use the LP system, I have other options we can use. Now, the thing is, it's easier to start with a thing than it is to try to migrate later. So yeah. I do not like to do enterprise resource migrations. I prefer to start with a single system and stick with it. So that's why I don't like MailChimp, because I want to start with a system where I can go up to 10,000 users if I need to and not have to migrate later.
Gotcha. Yeah, man, let's talk a little bit more about this offline and or on the Discord or something like that. But yeah, like I
Great.
said, I'm not trying to table anything for this mailing service, but now we already have new information, so I'll put this back on the agenda in a couple months when we figure something out.
Great. I intended to be an observer for Gary, but this I figured was important to chime in on.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man, for sure.
Okay, thanks.
All right, and Madam Chair, that's all I have.
All right. Well, that concludes our new business. I did want to ask everyone for meeting next month. We've been doing the third Sunday, which for February would put us on President's Day weekend.
It would also put us on the exact same day as the Rage Against the War Machine rally. So
That is
keep that
true.
in mind, especially for anybody who's planning to attend from further away than Nova.
So would people prefer the weekend before or weekend after?
Well, I'll just say, I think it's fine on that date, but the weekend before might run into some other conflicts. I don't know if there are conflicts the weekend after, but there will probably be conflicts the weekend before.
Okay.
I propose the weekend after. I think that's an honest, like, let's have a good rally, come back together, talk about it, report on it, and then we can figure it out from there.
So this would be Sunday the 26th.
Yes. All right. Well, let's plan for that. Anyone have anything else for the good of the order?
I'll motion to adjourn.
It's Paul Bracco, Vice Chair. I'll second that.
All right. Anyone opposed? All right. Meeting is adjourned at 10:20 p.m.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Have a good night, guys.
Thanks for hopping on, everybody.
Have a good night, guys.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.